most proud of from your accomplishments and also from the accomplishments of those who you've supported, mentored, or helped? Like, what are you most proud of in terms of your impact so far in your career?
I'm most proud, personally, I'm most proud of growing two entire children at the same time. So I have 4.5-year-old twins, and I'm like, holding them up like Simba, and I'm like, I made this. Look what it made. I am the most proud of being a mom. Of all the titles that I have and all the hats I wear, mom is absolutely my favorite, hands down. And that is a tough balancing act, but it's the thing I'm most proud of. As far as my professional accomplishments go, so before we crossed the $1 billion mark, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be incredible. We're going to get to $1 billion and it's going to be amazing. And it was really anticlimactic because I made a shift before we even got there. And I started saying, you know what? I'm going to go out and try to impact as many people as possible. That's like always my goal at this point. And when I kind of transitioned to that, we had done about $850, $900 million. So we were like right at the cusp of that. And I was like, okay, I am going to impact people. I want other people to think that they too can buy and sell over $1 billion of assets. So how can I help that person over there, or that single mom, or that person that is retired military, or the family that is earning a middle class income? How can I help them achieve their goals and their financial freedom? And so for me, that became the focus. So what happened was I got to the $1 billion mark, and I had our whole community came together and we celebrated, and it was great. It was really an excuse to get together and drink and eat food, but we celebrated together. But it didn't feel as exciting to me as when someone comes to me and says, this specific thing you said or did, or this stage you spoke on, or this podcast you were on, that changed my life. Because of you, I now do this differently, or I think this way differently. For me, that's every time I get one of those compliments, like that is the best thing anyone can ever say to me. And that is the thing that I'm like so proud of, is that I can't quantify what it's done, right? But I know inherently that there are other people's children that are eating from something that I have poured into them. And so the mom guilt is lesser because I know I'm doing this for something bigger than my own family.
I absolutely love that. And I know that, first of all, it sucks that women get this question all the time, which is like, how do you make it all work and how do you handle all of it? Which is like, it's almost annoying to ask the question because it's like, are you asking all the men that?
No,
right?
No, they are not.
Of course.
Yeah.
But it goes without saying that because of your pride in being a mom and what you've accomplished,
it
does beg the question of how have you been able to manage all of that and to tackle all of these different challenges that come at you from those different angles?
Yeah. So how I've managed it is very poorly. I am definitely not I know people are like, oh, you could have it all. And from the outside looking in, I know it appears that I have it all, but look, here's the reality. When I am, on the road and speaking, or I'm walking an asset, or even, I'm on a podcast, or I'm making a phone call, or I'm answering an investor question, someone else is taking care of my children. It's just that simple, right? And when I'm in mom mode and I'm, reading with them or playing with them, or I take them for a walk, or we go on vacation, someone else is taking care of my business. It is very disingenuous for anybody in my position to say that I have it all. I have it all in segments and pieces, but not all at the same time, right? And then the follow-up to that is I have a lot of help. It takes a village to do this part of your life too, right? I have a village that helps make my business successful. I have a village when it comes to my family life. So this is one thing I hope more women kind of shift their mindset about is one, you can lower your standards. Your home does not have to be ready for a Better Homes and Gardens shoot at the drop of a dime. It can be messy and probably nobody will die, right? You don't need to have everything pristine. Your house doesn't have to be decorated. I'm terrible at decorating my house. I've lived in this house for 10 years and I have rooms that have never been furnished because I'm like, 1, I hate it. 2, I don't want to spend the money. 3, I'd rather invest that money. And 4, what do I need to furnish that room for? Right? So if it's not something you're good at, not a priority for you, it's okay. we still live a really great life. I promise you my children are not lacking because I have a room without a sofa in it, okay? So one is you can lower your standards. Two, do not feel guilty hiring out help. When the dishes get done by somebody else, it's just as good as when you do the dishes. You don't need to worry about doing dishes if that's something you don't love. I haven't done a dish in like 7 years. It has been so long, and I never do dishes. Even when we travel somewhere where like there's an expectation for me to do dishes, I still don't do them. I'm like, babe, I need you to come here from the other room to do this cereal bowl dish. And he's like, okay. And he does it happily. My husband's great. He shares the workload with me, but I'm like, I just refuse to do them. And so don't feel guilty outsourcing laundry, house cleaning. And also, if you're married, and especially if you're married to a man, they can help too. They are human beings that are very capable. Hopefully that's why you married them, is because you believe they're capable. And, you know, like I had children with my husband because I think he's a capable, smart, independent, amazing human being. So does he do things the way I would do them? No. But does he also do them? And do they also get done to an acceptable standard? Yes. And I think when we made that shift of like, me not doing all of the invisible labor of the house and the emotional labor of the house, I think that really changed the dynamics of our relationship. And, you know, I have a lot of help. We have a driver, we have a nanny, we had an au pair until recently. I have all 4 grandparents living within walking distance of my house. They live across the street from each other, 10 minutes away, walking. And so, you know, I've really crafted this lifestyle so that I could do all of the things I want to do.
And I think, though, that we tend as women to judge ourselves for making that decision. And saying, am I, by hiring this out, am I now saying that I'm not capable of doing all of this myself? And I go, girl, you are capable, but it would be a silly decision to try to do all of this, because you're gonna fail at all of it if you try to do all of it 100%.
Well, and then also too, like, does anybody get an award for doing dishes? No. I mean, like, really though, right?
You know what? You have transacted $1 billion in real estate. I have probably washed 1 billion dishes, but I'm not putting that on my bio.
It's not that exciting, actually. No. If I have to choose between the two, I'm not choosing the dishes. But like maybe Dawn will have you be like a partner for them. I don't know. But like, I just feel like the risk and reward is not there for this.
I agree. And there's also this kind of paradigm of, you know, buying back your time, right? Because these are time consumptive activities. And I would, you know, we had the first thing was we hired the cleaning lady that came in, and that was life changing, probably marriage saving.
Yes. Yes. Also, yes.
A third party is now responsible. So now there's no fights over how one of us did it.
Nope. Yep.
So that's been amazing. And then I was like, oh my God, my next level is like, I really want to hire a chef. Because the last thing I want to do after long day of say podcasting, client calls, everything is like, do you know how bad I used to get takeout all the time because I'm just like, I just don't have the energy at this hour of the day to now go and start a whole meal and come up with a whole thing. It's so much brain calories. It's just
it's too much. Look, I don't have a chef, and that's not like really on my radar because my mother-in-law and my mom are excellent cooks, and they live down the street. I see them every day, so they always bring food over. And then my nanny's a great cook too. Interestingly, I'm a good cook. I just don't have time for it. So every now and then I'll cook. But look, even if you fed your children or your family like takeout meals every day, so
yeah, it's one of those things where you just have to do what's right for you and stop trying to guilt yourself into what other people will think about it. Because I was thinking about that and going, oh, how bad I want to hire a chef. Like that would be my next investment, is hiring a private chef to come in even a few times a week.
Yeah.
And then like immediately this little like light clicks off where you're like, oh my God, what would people think if you did that? Like what?
That you're living your best life. That's what people like me would think. I'd be like, okay, really what I would want to know, if you told me you hired a private chef, my first question would be, how did you find them? How much do they cost you? Right? Like, because I'm thinking whether or not I want or need a private chef, I'm like thinking in my mind, okay, if I want one, I now know the person who knows how to find one. And now I can get data about what this should generally cost. So I can decide if I could do it too, right?
Yeah.
So
I love that. That's the approach you have, is like, instead of saying, here's why I wouldn't do that, or here's what I think about that, it's like, that's not your journey. That's not your judgment.
no,
You instead say like, well, how did you do that? What made you decide to do that? And not in a judgy way, curiosity.
100%.
What made you decide to do that? And how did you actually make that happen? That's more valuable. 100%.
Yeah. And, you know, I also think too, the interesting thing about like things like this is they feel extravagant, but like, are they really? If it buys you,
I thought they were.
yeah, and
like you look at like Richie Rich and like the Kevin from Home Alone, and the like when you grow up, when you're kind of like going, these little things are such luxuries, and you grow up and then you realize that like they're actually more approachable than you'd think, but you like judge yourself for thinking they are more luxurious.
No, I think personally, I think you should hire a chef like tomorrow.
We probably could, but there's like, we're hanging on to it a little longer, I think.
Why?
We're probably going to do that.
This is going to change your life.
Yeah, I think it will. But I
think about it this way. Let's say a chef costs you $50 an hour, okay? $50 an hour. If you are, let's say you cook 5 hours a week right now, an hour on the weekdays, and then you go out on the weekends, right? That's $250 that you're paying for this service, right? Mm-hmm. If you spent even 2 hours, I'm being like super conservative here, but if you spend 2 hours growing your business and working on your business, can you create more than $250 in income? Easily. So your opportunity cost that you are paying to cook this meal when you clearly don't even really want to or like doing it is way too high. So the way I started hiring out is I was like, okay, I created a number, and I made this number up, and you can make it up too. For me, it was $15 an hour. This was years ago. And I was like, okay, anything that costs me less than $15 an hour to hire out that I don't want to do. It's not about whether you're good at it or not. You just don't want to do it. Okay. I hired that out. Now that number has gone up because I'm like, okay, $15 an hour. Let's call it $50 an hour, right? $50 an hour. Would I pay that for an hour of free time? Would I pay that for an hour to hang out with my kids, my husband, go on a date? Yeah, of course I would. So I think you're thinking in scarcity too much.
Yeah, I think I'm just also hesitating on committing anything new into the budget until we get grounded again with like what our current cash flow looks like, and then figure out, okay, do we want to add this in permanently? Because I know myself, and my husband knows me and each other, and that is like, once we start,
you're not going to stop. Yeah. Yeah. Once you live this life, you can't unlive it. Yeah. It's like, I can never fly to Asia anymore in coach because I've now been in business class. I just can't live that life anymore. That's okay. Yeah, but I think go ahead.
I was going to say, it's a, what do I put this? It's like a change in your expectations and your standards, like exposure to those things. And we talked about this in the form of proximity, but I want to dig into this, like even in this context, when you get exposure to these rooms, when you get exposure to these lifestyle choices, to the people who are doing those things, they become normal because you are now exposed to them, and that becomes a normal thing versus something that's like ridiculously luxurious. Because I'm telling you, if all my friends here in Costa Rica, if all of them hired private chefs, I'd be like, well, I'm just doing whatever.
Obviously. Obviously.
It wouldn't bug me at all because I would feel like I'm part of the tribe here, or that I was doing the thing everyone else was doing. So I'm like, surround yourself with people who are doing big things.
100%. I'll give you a great example of this. I was speaking on a stage in Santa Clara, California, about a week and a half ago. And I was trying to come home Friday because my kids had their very first recital, and I promised them I would be there. And I was like so excited to see them. And, they were singing like Frosty the Snowman and the Reindeer Pokey or whatever. And I was like, okay, I got to be home by Saturday morning. I'm going to leave Friday morning. My flight gets canceled, and then it gets rescheduled, then delayed. And then all of a sudden I find myself in SFO in San Francisco with not a single flight out the rest of the day to Dallas and no flights until Sunday. So I'm going to completely miss this recital. That's so important to me to be there. And I'm like, I'm a problem solver. I'm an entrepreneur. So I'm like, okay, what if I fly to like San Diego or LAX and then you can get me to Dallas? Or what if you take me to Portland and then I'll go to, I'm like trying to figure out, I'm like, I don't care if you have to fly me to Bali and then bring me to DFW through the whole world. Like just get me there before 7 a.m. on Saturday. So I'm like standing in line. We're like trying to find tickets, not finding anything, not having any luck because everyone else going to Dallas is also trying to get on these flights. And I have a text group with entrepreneurs that are doing way more than me. And there's about 20 of us in that group. And I send a text and I'm like, hi, I'm stuck in San Francisco. Does anybody have a plane that I can borrow to get back to Dallas tonight? And it sounds ridiculous, right? Like to say this to a group of friends.
That feels like a wish in the sky on the shooting star type of thing where it's like,
right.
It's anybody have a plane I can borrow?
Like a whole plane.
I need a group chat where I can ask that. But yeah, go on.
Yes, you do need a group chat where you can ask this because the responses I got, here's the charter company I use. They should be able to help you. Oh, one of my friends has 2 planes. He can send one of the jets for you. Here's his number. I'll connect you. Another person was like, oh, I have a plane that depending on the timing, we can reposition and get you back. And I had like 7 offers of jets that could take me home. Now, spoiler, I did end up getting on a DFW direct flight on American, but like shout out to Debbie G in the SFO lounge. She was amazing. She for an hour straight, she looked at all the iterations and kept looking, finally grabbed me the last seat and I got home. But the point is like, I am now in, rooms or text threads where this is not a weird request, right? Like imagine if you put this into any one of your group chats you have right now. Most people would get a response of, haha, nice one, funny. What are you talking about? No, of course we don't, right? But the people in this group, they're operating at such a high level that they were like, oh yeah, here's the 85 resources at my fingertips that can help you. Not even weird at all. That's different.
It's not even about, here's what I'm getting from that, Veena, is it's not about find people with access to planes. It's about find people with access to solutions who will share the solutions with you.
Yes.
That's it. Find people with access
100%.
to solutions that will share those solutions with you, whatever level they may be at or whatever dimension you're talking about. Because when you're telling that story, what I'm hearing is people are not judging you, asking you why you're in that position, making you feel bad about like, well, you should have planned better. They're like, no, here's my charter company.
Yes. And they were like, I really hope you get back. Keep us posted.
Exactly.
That's cool. Those are the rooms you want to be around.
And those are the people you want to work with. Those are the people you want to be doing business with. Those are the investors 100%. You want to have. Those are the, the sponsors you want to have. It's like, you just want to be always a team. And this just goes back to like the common theme we've been saying throughout the episode, which is like working with each other,
so much better.
Making it better together, helping each other out, holding the door open for the next person. That's really what it's about. And if we're not doing that, then, we're no better for it. Like
100%.
We should be doing. But here's the thing. If you want that, there's probably somebody, anyone who's listening, who's just like, I don't have a plane I can offer somebody. There is probably something you can offer someone who is a micro step behind you.
100%. You just need to be one chapter ahead of someone else.
Exactly. And you're always even a paragraph ahead of somebody else.
Yeah.
You could be a sentence. You could just be
100%.
So like you could be like, I literally did this yesterday and here's what I learned. Or somebody helped me with this yesterday and I'm passing it on to you. There's a constant flow of information happening. And to your point, you're not paying for access to information in a lot of these rooms that you can get.
No.
Google, ChatGPT or anything. You're paying for the relationships to help you generate solutions to the bigger problems.
1,000,000%.
I love that. I absolutely love that concept and that perspective. So here's the thing too. We talk about the relationships and I do want to close on this note, which is I have to ask you this question before we wrap, which is around finding and landing investors and creating those relationships that you've done with Vive, like what you look for, how you interact, like what Vive Funds is really trying to attract, what types of investors you want. And I want to lead that into how people can learn more about everything that you guys are doing.
Yeah, I love it. So at Vive Funds, right, we typically have our average investor avatar is going to be, high income earners, usually professionals, right? Whether they're business owners or doctors or lawyers or engineers. Usually they have something that they do and they do really well at it, or they trained a long time to become really great at it. And they need somewhere that they can have an alternative investment, a hedge to the stock market, but most importantly, a tax efficient investment. And we all know that the IRS really, really benefits people that are real estate owners and business owners, right? And so they almost kind of go hand in hand. And so we provide those passive opportunities, because a lot of people, like if I have a neurosurgeon, they're like, no, I want to cut people's brains open. I don't want to go and learn all of these things. I don't want to know about NOI and equity multiples and IRR. Like, no, I don't want to do that. So they just write a check, and then it's truly hands-off and passive. They just collect truly what's called mailbox money. So I think that is really important for people to know that this is an option. I didn't know when I first started. No one told me. And so I think just knowing puts you ahead of 99% of the population, because most people don't know about this. And once you know, it's what you do with it that's powerful. So if you want to learn about real estate investing, I have a free Facebook group called Mastering Multifamily with Veena Jetti. And there's a lot of LPs, a lot of GPs in there. I also have the Multify community, which is really, truly a community where you can be in those rooms with other like-minded investors and other people. Like I've had people that have joined Multify and they're like, this is amazing and I love learning about it, but I now don't think I want to do multifamily. I want to go and do something in business, but the resources and tools that I've gained here and the knowledge and the people I've met are going to help me 10x my business that's not even a multifamily business. And I'm like, that's amazing. That is kind of the goal, right? It's for everybody. And so those are the two places where you can find me, hang out with me. But I'm on social media. I respond to my own Instagram messages. So I'm there, Veena Jetti on all platforms.
And you're going live.
I do. I'm in the middle of a 30-day live challenge right now. By the time this airs, hopefully will have completed it successfully. But the first time I did it, I got through 29 days and then missed the 30th day. So I started over. And then I missed the 7th day. And now I'm on take 3. This is day 7 today. I already did mine today, though. So tomorrow's my next live.
Awesome. We'll be staying tuned for it. Guys,
yes.
Follow Veena. Go check out what she's up to. Join her Facebook group. She's always got stuff to share. And as you can tell, she's an open book. Like, ask her a question. She's going to answer it or help you find the solution. She's a solution generator. And I hope you will turn into one as well listening to this. Veena, thank you so much for spending the time with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me.